On everyone, Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. I was very tempted to have the title be like Vincent D'Onofrio fights with fans over show being woke, but honestly, it wasn't really a fight. It seemed like a pretty detailed, intricate discussion, which you don't get much of, but it also just really goes to show you some of these actors really believe the Kool-Aid and they can't see the grand picture of the way the public takes away some of the allegory, Robert, that we're getting in these shows. So he went back and forth, he being Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Kingpin. By the way, before we get into the back and forth, the ratings are just, they're not even on Nielsen. They're not even on Samba. No one is watching, except for me and a couple other brave souls, watched this season of Daredevil. And I'm going to use that season lightly, because we all know, or if you don't know, this started, and now you know, Nutella. Anyway, it started off as 20 episodes with a different showrunner. That everyone got creatively reset, and they got fired. Dario Scardapane, who did Punisher for Netflix, came in. He's the new showrunner. They took those 20 episodes, split them in half. The second season is the remaining batch of episodes. Was it 9 and 8 episodes? Either way, we're getting more, and the second season will probably be the truer, newer version that Dario did. But this holdover version that was a bunch of the old guard and the new stuff, it did not resonate. No one's watching it. 6 episode was watchable, but that's not saying much. So going into the second season, they got no ratings charting, horrible word of mouth, and the people that do watch it, me, can very clearly see the modern day analogies of Trump and all cops are bad, etc., etc. Summer of Love. And Vincent went back and forth with some fans about it. So here's Brandon S. Now that at Aaron Moorhead and at Justin H. Benson with Dario have come out and basically said that they are using Daredevil as an anti-conservative and cop show, I have a feeling at Marvel Studios and at Disney Plus are going to double down on woke season 2. Sad they took their best product and decided to attack half of America. At Vincent D'Onofrio, I was hoping the reboot would be getting back to just good storytelling, but at this point, I guess it won't even be that. And I love that we live in a world where you can just at the main actor and sometimes they respond. He did. Here's Vincent D'Onofrio. This is absolute nonsense. We're not doubling down on any such thing. This statement is just not so. If there was any truth to it, I think I would know. We are telling Daredevil stories. We are not pushing any agenda other than making a kick-ass superhero drama. A press X to doubt. They are absolutely doing commentary. And when they're going to point to the comics, look, we're just using the storyline from the comics where cops use Punisher symbols and they're all corrupt. That was put in. That's modern day comics told by people that hate Punisher and hate the people that like Punisher for what he actually stands for. The people that are sort of working at Marvel right now. So that's a misunderstanding on Vincent's part. You can see right here, Brandon S. retorts again by sharing a review from Deadline, describing the series as fearless and Trump 2.0 timely. The review shares that there are multiple levels where the show is political allegory. It notes, with terms like resist and retribution employed in the long-awaited and creatively retooled Charlie Cox-led Born Again, the first Daredevil series since 2018 lines up to the real America of 2025 on a number of levels. Certainly, with the City Hall aspiring Kingpin, of which he won, promising 5 boroughs voters to keep our streets safe, to grab absolute power to abuse for riches. There's a lot of MAGA here, as well as a lot of creativity and history. He all but said, make New York great again. They very much were trying to make that. So here's Brandon. He gives him again. Let's see. He says, I honestly think that is what you're doing, but you have to understand that as a fan or fans, we have witnessed almost a decade of Marvel lecturing certain people. Correct. And they don't understand this. I was just a stand-in around 2016-ish time period, worked on a show, Colony, where the day after Trump won, the writers, producers, actors, etc., had an all-hands production meeting. Usually, this during the season is for a show to be canceled or something happened to a crew member or actors. As we spend so much time on set, we become like family on shows. It was to talk about how America is under a fascist government now, and it was all because of bigots and fascists. And then someone pointed to me in front of the whole crew. After the show wrapped, I went back to another show I worked on, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pre-Trump, the show was about source material and the Marvel Bible. They haven't cracked that one open in a while. First day back, there's a scene that's either a time jump or a multiverse, and they have a history book about Trump and fascism. I watched in real time from a crew member position how almost every project was about politics. I see Dario say this show isn't about Trump, but it's hard for me to believe when he talks about the Punisher logo and cops and having to tackle the issue because of real life. Even though that logo is used by police, a symbol of belonging and willing to put their life on the line for their community, as it has nothing to do with what they think it does. Though once again, the show uses the extreme to represent the majority. Article after article also believes Born Again is about Trump. It is. It's come on. It's impossible to not see the analogies, an allegory they're working with. Vincent responds to that very in-depth testimony, basically, to maybe you should dive into the Daredevil canon. He's using the argument of go read the comics, and I already explained to you that the comics he's referring to were those new ones that were put in specifically for ideology. Marvel created all that you speak of in terms of our show. A play on morality, the definition of good, bad, the pull between what God may have planned for us and what is happening for real in the life of Daredevil and Fisk. Here's someone else jumping in. Your unwillingness to draw the allegorical parallels is on you. There's no way the writers are sitting there dumbfounded with similarities. They absolutely do. Correct. They could have leaned into it. They could have leaned away from it. They leaned into it. Correct. You can see Vincent. Fisk created and revealed by Marvel in 1967. Again, he's going with the old version, not the newer versions of Fisk. So he's either not that smart or he's being intentionally obtuse. I don't find either of those prospects good. If you're saying it's uncanny how certain aspects can compare, fine. Yet if you're saying that we are writing and playing Fisk to promote woke, then you are straight up wrong. No way. I think Vincent is the one wrong on that. Daymare saying, wow, thank you for saying the exact same thing as the last dozen people. You've really contributed to the conversation. Vincent saying, I wish we could find a middle ground. If you knew me, you'd know that's my style, middle ground. You don't seem to want a real discussion. Vincent doesn't seem to want a real discussion because they're hitting him with fact after fact. And his basic thing is that's not what we're doing. You don't know the lore. You don't seem to want a real discussion where you might actually be enlightened. I am disappointed we can't do that. I prefer people in my life, left or right, that recognize that. Yeah, and that's how they get out of it. Holy hell. Even Dario attempting to distance himself. You can see asked here. You can't help but see parallels between Fisk running for mayor and what's going on in the real world. How much of that was in your mind when you guys were prepping? This is his answer. None. That's the crazy thing. This is picking up Charles Soule's Mayor Fisk storyline that was written about 10 years ago. Correct! In 2016, which was a direct... So that was probably in the zeitgeist then. I inherited some of that storyline, but for me in the first season and second season, which is part 1 and part 2, it is Rise of a Tyrant. Whether that's applying to now, I'm actually kind of not in that space. Okay, so you get the idea. I'm not going to go any more into this because they're going to say the same shit. Even though they're using comics specifically written and inspired by... I'll finish with Gary here. Let me finish off on Gary here. Pop culture critic Gary Buechler. It says Buechler, but I know he pronounces it Viekler. Whatever. German language is fun. Very much a President Trump allegory. Goes on to explain that it is the quintessential MCU with Matt Murdock getting constantly lectured by women. He does. And Kingpin getting replaced by his wife. Even though by the end of it, he's back to being Kingpin and she's his subordinate. It's made clear that she was the better version of Kingpin. Race swaps aplenty. And yeah, they really leaned into Punisher Skull controversy, particularly from the Summer of Love. So they can go full all cops are bad and have Punisher lecture bad cops and call them clowns, which he did. The show has all the woke trappings. Yes, it does. Intersectional feminism, identity politics, and TDS. And you don't need to be a genius to notice it. Again, thank you, Vincent, for trying to go back and forth. But, man, just ignored all of their actual criticisms. And then when they gave you the actual reasons for it, he just goes, read the comics, even though the comics themselves, 2016 ones and onward, were already politically captured. Oh, boy. Did you even watch Daredevil? I don't know. Let me know. Maybe you'll tune into the second season. Probably not based on rating count. Either way, let me know what you think about this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.